Hey guys, it's Tim here at JK Boots, and today we are sawing our Superduty boot in half. This cut in half really gives us a cool view as to the layers of leather that go in here. And it's not rocket science, it's not magical, but it's like really quality and really good. And the integrity and honesty about the product and the build and the quality of material is what makes this special. So starting off, the first thing I noticed is our tongue material. So cut in half, you can see we use really soft, nice, it's about 3.5 to 4 ounce tongue material. I oftentimes will hear people say how it's so nice on their ankle, it's not like a heavy, break-in. Because it's soft and so quality, this leather, it's actually really unique. It's our proprietary tongue leather, and I picked it out specifically when we were sourcing, because I always heard people talk about the tongue part is always so stiff and uncomfortable. And so this is the special stuff that we use for it, and it's split on one side, smooth on the other, so you can kind of see that. So the interior part is the part that's suede, and the outside part is the smooth side for stuff to kind of rinse off. One of the coolest things that I think is visible here, it's the Vamp portion. So when you take a closer look at the Vamp, you can actually see that we use a full lining on the Vamp that's sewn in and glued in. And it just adds another, so the leather that we're using for our Vamp alone is about 8 ounces, almost more, 8 to 9 ounces. And the lining is like 3.5 to 4. So what is that? That's a total of almost 12 to 13 ounces of heavy duty, like awesome quality leather wrapped around your foot, your toe. That's next level. I think some of the most nationwide popular boot brands, they're using like 4 ounce, 5 ounce. So we're talking almost 3 times as much leather wrapped around your foot. That's why the boots are next level. That's why these tough professions use our product, and it's for this reason. And the lining that we use, it's split from both sides. So the inside portion is the suede side, so it's nice. It kind of grips your foot, hugs your sock. So that's a really good portion, and it's sewn in. So it's not going to be like wobbly on the inside, and you're not going to feel like a separate layer of lining around your foot. As we move forward, this part's pretty cool too. When you look at the back, and you can kind of see where the backstay is sewn, the pull loop is sewn, the top facing is sewn. You can just examine how many layers of leather there are here. The backstay is not like a thinner or cheaper portion. It's equally just as thick, cut from the same hide as the rest of the upper. So you've got 2 thick layers back here running up your Achilles, up the back of your heel, securing your ankle in place. The pull loop, same thing. It's the tough 8 to 9 ounce stuff because you're yanking on those maybe twice, 3 times a day, taking your boots on and off, whatever. So that's made to last. It's all sewn in. It's all engraved in, the top facing, putting more kind of weight around the top portion of that boot. The tongue is sewn in. The hardware, it's all punched in. This is legit. This is legit. The counter, not just specifically the thick counter, which I'll get to later, but the actual pocket itself is also 8 to 9 ounce leather sewn in. So just around this heel portion alone, if you do the math, 8, 8, 8, so 8, 16, 24, this counter probably is a good 16 or 18. I mean, we're talking almost 30 or so, 30 plus, ounces of leather around your heel. That's almost overkill. And so that's why the boots are so next level, and why they're at their price point is because not only is this material incredible quality, there's tons of it, and a human with their hands, put it together. So it's this is next level. Moving forward, there's a lot of different names for this that people have, but we call it sock lining. That's this thin layer of leather that's just adhesive over the insole, and it goes about halfway. And the idea there with this is that, you know, there's a lot of nails that we use in this boot, and so then we're building the boot, lasting, bottoming, you know, all this stuff. The nails will pierce the insole, the leather insole, and then they'll hit the bottom of the last that's inside the boot that the boot's being built around, and that last has a metal plate. And so the tacks and the nails, they'll hit that plate, and actually we call it clinching, and so they'll like clinch and bend back into the leather. And so it won't hurt anyone who is wearing it, obviously, but you can see kind of the heads of the nails in the insole. And so we put this sock lining for two reasons: A, for it to look nice, and B, so that over time, like the natural sweat or perspiration from your foot won't actually like touch the tack or nail, so it won't like rust or won't do anything like that. So that's one of the reasons for the sock lining, and it actually works pretty dang good. And then as we move on, you'll see this first thick layer. It's this first thick leather layer. That is our oak tan 9-iron leather insole. This baby right here. This is awesome. This is what your foot sits on, what it rests on, what it breaks into, what you know, it's going to get molded, your toes and all that stuff. This is the highest of quality leather that we can possibly get our hands on, and that's kind of, it's like the base of the boot on the internally. So when the boots are getting lasted, and you'll sometimes see in our videos, you know, we have those thick you know, plastic molds that we're trimming around. That's that insole that's getting trimmed all the way around. And so that's this first thick layer that's in there. Very important. Very important for it to be quality, and very important for it to be installed correctly. So that's a big deal. Then right beneath that, you're going to see this thinner leather, this particular one is brown, this thin leather layer. That right there is what we call our arch support pad. So when the boots are getting built and they're getting shanked and bottomed, so we're building up that arch support, we actually install that first, and then we do that leather cover shank, which is the thick layer of oak tan directly below that thinner brown colored one that you see in the video. And what that arch support does is it's literally that arch support that's going to be kind of like pressing up, and then that cover shank over it coupled together gives that arch support. It supports that arch support. And the purpose of the cover shank is actually to give it that rigidity, I guess you could say, or that support, and make it strong so the arch doesn't break down over time. And so the last that we use, they already have a natural curvature for the arch. So really all that we have to do is we have to fill that in and build it correctly with that cover shank so it's strong and supportive and lasts a long time. So that's that thick layer that's right after that thinner arch support pad. That's that cover shank. And you can actually see it. It goes from like about mid-heel, let's say, to like right where this you know, this lasted portion starts. And then it feathers out right before the ball. And you can actually like see that right there. Directly after that is the next very, very important layer, and that's our 12-iron oak tan leather midsole. This is the real deal. It's what it looks like right here. Again, very high quality, very serious, very thick, and the midsole is really a lot of the meat of the boot. It is going to be the foundation. It is going to be the, you know, the heavy beam that holds the boot together. It's going to be the thing that lasts for those multiple years when you're getting your boots resoled and resoled. So that's why we don't cheap out in any way, shape, or form with our leather midsoles. We use the best possible quality of leather we can get our hands on. And that's where we do the bottoming process. So if you're seeing other videos, like the 2 rows of nails going through it, that's going right through the leather midsole. And that it runs literally from all the way back of the heel, all the way through to the toe. And that's a really big deal. And so the whole boot kind of sits, basically, is anchored on that leather midsole. So that's why it's thick, it's right there. There's a cool little thing that I want you to miss. It's right in between the leather insole and the leather midsole. It's our proprietary squeak pad, we call it. So it's a special material that we use and we source, and I really like it. And so the purpose of it actually is, literally we call it a squeak pad because it stops the boots from squeaking. Boots squeak when leather to leather rubs against each other years after year after year after year, specifically this kind of leather. And so if there was no layer in between the insole and midsole, like, you know, imagine like, you know, insole, midsole, if there was no layer in between here, every time you took a step, it would go squeak, squeak, you know. So that's what that is. And so we install that layer when we're putting on the midsole, specifically for that reason, so that it doesn't squeak. So it's very thin, it's unnoticeable, and actually it kind of acts like a little bit of compression too. So we put it right there underneath the ball of the foot, and kind of naturally where there would be the most, you know, curvature of your foot, taking steps, kneeling down, whatever. As we move forward, right away, right after the leather midsole, we have our outsole. This particular instance, the Superduty boot, it's got the 100 log sole, the Red X one, so it's the thick, toughest outsole that Vibram makes, and it runs from heel to toe, and it's right there. It's what you see, and you see these tread patterns are cut. You know, these thick lugs. It's not hollow. It's thick rubber, and so this thing lasts a long, long time. It's the chemical resistant, fire resistant one. It's awesome. After the outsole. We actually do our stitching, and so the stitching portion goes, right here on that welt. But as we're looking through, after that, right away goes our base. And so in this particular instance, again, the Superduty boot, we use a 4-lift base or a 4-layer heel. It's leather. It's stacked leather heel. It is not carton. It is not plastic. It is not cardboard. It is not any other material other than legitimate oak tan leather stacks stacked on top of each other, making up our leather heel base. And we put nails through that leather heel base. You see that in some of our other videos and shorts and stuff. And again, same principle. Those nails will pierce through all this material, hit the bottom of the metal plate and clinch and curve back into the insole. So it won't actually bother anyone ever, but it really acts so well in like sinking, it like sinks this whole area together. So that's really, really important. Works like amazing. It's very powerful. So a lot of times I'll see like other maybe, I don't want to like say cheaper boots, but like let's say other cheaper mass-produced stuff, they rip apart at the heel often, and that's because they lack a lot of this stuff. They lack a lot of this, hey, it's synced in through the leather. There's nails holding it together. So this is why our boots are so next level. This is why they last so long. It's because of so many of these details that go into it. Right after the leather heel base, we put on the cap, so the matching cap to the sole. In this particular instance, it's the lug cap, same rubber material, the fire-resistant, oil-resistant, chemical-resistant material. And same thing, nails go through that, and it's glued down first, and then nails, and then we also put screws through it. And there'll be 3 screws running around the top, the front portion of the heel, and then nails going through all the rest. And if you look closely, also here's something that isn't in this layer stack, is the counter. So there's literally a thick leather counter wrapped around the heel. Like, that's amazing. And it's almost like overkill. This is why I've never heard, nor have I ever seen, and I don't believe I ever will, anyone like twisting their ankle, spraining their ankle, whatever, in a pair of our boots, because the leather heel support, that counter is so thick. It's this oak tan material right here. It's so tough and so thick. I don't think anyone would ever be able to break that, sprain their ankle, twist their ankle. It's so solid. And when you take a step, it's just so constricted around your ankle. So anyone that's doing like anything where you're on uneven ground, hiking in the forest, going over woods, up and down ladders, all this stuff. That's why wildland firefighters love our boots so much. It just offers such amazing ankle support. So it's because of that counter. So yeah, it pretty much sums up our cut in half for the Superduty. And we don't have any secrets. We're very transparent. We don't do anything shady. Everything is open. It's not really anything magical. It's just amazing quality product, quality build, integrity when you're putting it together, integrity when you're building it, not cheaping out on materials, and doing it the right way and taking your time. So yeah, we have no secrets. You can ask us any questions. We don't use any carton. We don't use any plastic. We don't use any synthetic materials in our Superduty, OT, or forefront boots, or climber boots, or any JK line boot. So it's all leather 100% around. So it is the next level. It is the real deal. And if you're looking for a boot that's going to outlast 6 months, 8 months, it's going to be a couple years, this is for you. So thanks for watching. Check out our other videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment below what else you'd like to see. Thank you, and see you next time.